One of the owners. You're gonna die.
This was one event that Barbara knew could not be ignored.
You can wear gloves, wipe the surfaces clean, destroy the evidence, and dispose of the remains. But you better not miss a spot, because you can be sure forensics won't. Extreme Forensics, a brand new series, Friday at 9 on Investigation Discovery.
One of the world's leading scientists has just created synthetic life.
It's a totally new way of thinking about life.
New species. New solutions. New concerns.
We have to be careful as we go forward.
See how this groundbreaking science happened and what it means for you.
This is technology that could literally save the planet.
Creating Synthetic Life. Saturday at 7:20. Brand new and exclusive to Discovery Science.
At the Lake Club, waitress Barbara Lard was convinced that she had seen a ghost.
I just stood there and I was in a state of shock.
Owner Bill Carmine could sense that something was terribly wrong.
Barbara, what's wrong? She was just in terror. And I'm like, Barbara, what's the matter? I can't tell you, I can't tell you. She was just panicky. And I told her, I said, well, you know, go back in the office and sit down. Well, I'm not going back there. I'm never going back there again. I told her, go ahead and take the rest of the night off. She was in total terror. And I'd never seen her like that before.
Hey, come on in. Take a seat. Gosh, yeah, go on, you give us some coffee.
The next day, Barbara gave her employers a partial explanation of her experience.
I went in there and he spoke to me.
I said, what did he say? She said, I can't tell you.
Can you tell us?
Why can't you tell me?
I can't tell you. I can't.
One of the owners is gonna die.
I can't.
Well, we can't help you out if you don't tell us what he said to you. We need to know.
I made the decision not to tell Tom and Bill,
I can't tell you.
and that was very difficult. I was so scared, and I didn't want it to weigh heavy on their minds.
In search of answers, Bill paid a visit to Dusty, the club's longtime caretaker.
Everything's good, right?
Oh, everything.
No problem.
Okay, so she was in the bathroom and she saw this guy. I mean, big guy.
Bill passed on Barbara's description of the man.
Big head, big long mustache. You know,
That sounds like Rudy. I mean,
Rudy.
remember the guy?
Dusty thought he sounded like the Lake Club's former bartender, Rudy Craner.
Rudy. You mean the guy
Remember
used to
the guy I told you
bartend here?
that? Yeah, he used to bartend here. Got a picture there. That's him right
Yeah,
there.
look at that.
He gave Bill photos taken when Rudy had worked at the club.
I'll show these to Barbara. I'll let her take a look at them. Trust me,
Okay.
everything's fine.
Okay.
You're doing a great job. Listen.
All right.
Bill was anxious to find out if Barbara would be able to identify anyone in the photographs.
And they said, do you recognize anybody?
This is him.
That's who.
This is the man that I saw. This is the man that I saw in your office. This is him.
Okay.
Bill explained to the others what he learned from Dusty. Craner had worked at the club when it was owned by Philip Dean and Tony Barbato.
We're in a lot of trouble here.
The bartender had made a considerable profit in tips from the well-heeled patrons of the club's illegal casino.
Here's the deal right now, Rudy, okay? I'm telling you.
In 1958, police had raided the club, putting a serious dent in Rudy's earnings.
Take care of it.
The ensuing years were stressful ones for Rudy. And he also suffered from painful stomach ulcers. 10 years later, Rudy was diagnosed with cancer. At the time, rumor had it that he'd been stealing money from the club. After years of financial and medical hardship, Rudy snapped.
Get back, everybody back. Don't come back this way again. Joe, I'm gonna go call the police right now. No. She's the officer.
According to Dusty, Rudy Craner had been a Roman Catholic. Catholic himself, Tom Blasco had a theory about why Rudy might be haunting the club.
Since suicide was the worst sin a Catholic could commit, he might be trapped between the planes of life.
Calm down. It's okay. All right, calm down.
Bill and Tom still didn't know that Barbara was harboring a secret. That the ghostly figure had told her that one of the club owners would soon die.
Carrying the secret of knowing that something was going to happen really affected me. It just weighed so heavy on my heart because I just adored Tom and Bill both so much. That was just almost more than I could comprehend, that I would lose either one of them.
Next, on a busy weekend night, the compressor on the beer tap suddenly lost pressure.
All right, just calm down. I gotta go downstairs for me. Everything's all right, okay? Go back there.
Bill went down to the basement to repair it.
I wanted to go down and give it a swift kick to get it working. And when I went down, the lights were all off down there.
A blast of compressed air startled him. By now, Bill was convinced that the lake club was haunted, but was too embarrassed to discuss it with his landlord, Philip Dean.
There you go, my friend.
Thank you. All right.
Okay.
See you later.
Good night.
Yeah, I'll come by tomorrow again, okay? Good night, guys. Thank you.
Within weeks, Philip Dean suffered a fatal heart attack. Waitress Barbara Lard had mixed emotions.
I had sorrow for the family, but there was such great relief, too, because it wasn't Tom and Bill. And that may sound cold or cruel, but that's how I felt. It was like relief.
Barbara finally felt it was safe to reveal the warning she'd been given.
Hey, Phil.
She says, I can tell you what Rudy told me now. He said one of the owners was going to die. And she was, I was afraid to tell you because I thought it might be one of you two.
God, that scared me. It still gives me the shakes.
Tom and Bill wondered if Rudy Craner had predicted Philip Dean's death, or if his involvement might have been more sinister than that.
Did Rudy have something to do with it? Did he have enough energy that he stopped the owner's heart?
Bill feared that if a supernatural entity had murdered Philip Dean, it could do the same to him.
I thought maybe he's not going to draw the line at one owner. We knew that was something had to be done. And Tom suggested getting a priest and blessing the place.
Tom's old school friend, Gary Dilly, had become a Roman Catholic priest.